Hello everyone, in this video I am going to discuss about the version control system. What exactly is a version control system? Before going to that, I'll just take an example. See, you come across the Google Drive, Dropbox. These are the storage sites where you can able to upload your images, videos and lot of files so that you can able to access it anywhere around the world. And second one, if there goes something disastrous to your local devices, then your files are saved safely in the cloud and through which you can able to access it. In the same thing, the version control systems all maintain a version of your or the history of your code, as well as they will save all your code into some cloud or the server. Before, at a starting stage, we had something called as a centralized version control system, where you have a server onto which you used to push your code, and where you used to store your code. And if there is a collaboration, there is a team, one developer used to push the code into that centralized version control system, and another one used to pull it and he contribute much to it, and again he used to push that code into the centralized server. And this is how we used to go with the centralized version control system, where version is nothing but a history of or a track record of your code pushing, pulling and upgrading, updating, deleting, those all things. It used to maintain history of those all things, and apart from that you can able to store your code and you can do modifications on that. And here centralized means you have a machine onto which everyone is pushing. It is a single server onto which everyone is pushing. And the drawback of the centralized version control system is that if the centralized server goes down, then there is no some sort of a recovery. Everything is gone, nothing is left. In such condition, we came across something called as a distributed version control system, and that is brought by the GitHub. And GitHub is a distributed version control system. What exactly is a distributed version control system? See, we have a single centralized server onto which everyone is pushing their code, right? And what if I make a copy of that centralized version control, like the server, centralized server, and put it with me, like under my repository? See, everyone has an account in GitHub or any sort of version control system. What I do, there is some sort of repository. I'll just copy that repository and put that repository in my account, and I will start contributing to that account. And once my contribution is completed, then I will push into that. Like this, everyone has some sort of copy of that centralized version control system. Therefore, this is known as a distributed one, because everyone has some repository with themselves, and they don't need to be dependent on centralized one to contribute. And this is how we go with distributed version control system. I'll go here into the GitHub. Okay, this is the GitHub. And we have the repository over here. How to create a repository in the GitHub? You just need to click the new over here. Just click on that, and under this you need to name your repository. See, I am going to build hello world as my repository because this already exists. It is not going to take that. For that reason, I will just take some application. It is available, and I need to give some description over here what my application does and what not. And if you want to make your project public, then you can select public, or if you want to make it a private, you can select private. And here is a readme file. Like, it will give some sort of idea about what you are building, what it contains, how to install it and how to work on it. And you have the git ignore. What is git ignore? I will explain these all the terms while discussing the git bash. Okay. And after that you need to create this thing, and this is done. Everything is done. This is how we create uh, repositories in the GitHub. And you have successfully created a repository over here. What you need to do, you need to copy it. You just need to copy it. That's done. Okay, now I will go into how we are doing these all things, like how we are maintaining the history, how we are pulling the code, how we are pushing the code, and those all things. What I do, here is my file. I'll just clear everything. This is my D folder. and previously I have copied the link, right? This is the link what I copied. Before these all things you need to add your username to it. Wait a second, I will just create a file. I will create a file, mkdir make directory app, or app. Okay, this is done. And what I do, and just use git init. Now a .git folder is initialized. What is .git? .git is a folder that is maintaining your history, what you are doing with the file, whether you are upgrading, updating, deleting, or creating a new one, or you are stopping every files. This is a file. .git is a file that is maintaining everything. If without .git you cannot do anything in the GitHub. Okay. Now what I do, I create some file over here, touch o.txt. I successfully created it, and after that what I do, I'll just check the status. Wait a second. Actually I done everything under the D folder itself. What I do, I will just go into the app section. Under the app I will create a new file, touch o dot wait a second. Here I will initialize the git. Is successfully initialized. And what I do, under this thing I will just create a file called o.txt. o.txt file created. Okay, I will clear this thing. And here what I do, touch is already, means we have already one file over there. I just check the status. What is the status of that file? It is showing me that this is untracked file, means you haven't pushed the code into that particular folder. Now what I do, I'll just clear this thing, and here git add o.txt. Now I added the history, like see I have created o.txt file. Now I am adding it to the git version control system. This is how we do it, git add o.txt. Now I called the .git folder and I said, see, you have to save this file o.txt. That is done. And after this I'll just have to commit. Commit means, see, you just added the git folder, like the o.txt file is created, I'm adding it. You just said that that thing, but what you are adding, what you are updating, that has to be there, right? For that I am committing the message, -m means message. And here I will just say that created o.txt file. That's done, completed, everything is done. And if I check git status, it will show me that okay, everything is great, nothing to commit. Work tree is clean, means whatever you have created, you have submitted that to .git folder. This is how. Okay, what is .git folder? I'm just I want to check the .git is there. There is something called as .ignore, .git ignore. What exactly that folder does is, that file does is, if I mention something in the .git ignore file, whatever file you mention in the .git ignore, it is not at all committed, means it will not give any sort of option to commit that file. Okay, that is why we use the .git ignore. Not required as of now. I will just clear this thing. And here you have committed that, you have added that file, and you have done a lot of a thing. And I will show you how the history is going to work. If I say git log, as you can have a look over here, this is your commit id. This is how it tracks the record. This is your commit id, unique for everything. And this is the author name, it's me. And this is the date, and this is the commit line, what I committed, like created o.txt file. Previously we had done that. I am doing this here, and this is done.